Hey everybody, Absolute Sniper signing in with a tank review on the brand new T95E2 American Tier 8 medium tank. This tank's available in the crates that are out in the shop right now. They are part of the 15-in-1 crates. Supposedly have a 1% chance to obtain this tank. I honestly got mine on the first pull, but without further ado, let's get into some of the stats and specs on the tank. So you can see here, for starters, you've got 1,350 hit points, your hull armor, 95 on the front, 50 on the sides, 35 on the rear. Turret's going to give you 127 on the front, 76 on the sides, and then 50 on the rear as well. Speed limit, got 48 kilometers per hour, 60 degrees of traverse speed, and 44 degrees of turret traverse, and very standard penetration and alpha numbers for a typical 90mm gun at tier 8. So you're going to be popping about 225 alpha and 9.77 rounds a minute, so decent DPM, but nothing to write home about. And as we take a look at the way the armor profile actually shows up in game when you're facing other tanks, you'll quickly realize that this tank has some major holes in the armor profile. First and foremost, you can see it right there on top of the turret. The machine gunner's hatch is a huge, easily pinnable weak spot that just about anybody is going to be able to put a full roll into. You do have a very steeply angled upper glacis, so you can bait some shots and get some bounces off of that, especially if you are ridge fighting and you're able to get this tank hauled down. Also has a fairly large gun mantlet, which will bounce just about everything that comes at it. But most of your decent tankers are going to be aiming right at that hatch on the top. And if you're trying to brawl with this tank, as you can kind of see as we're going around the full view, everything is easily pinnable by same tier medium tanks. That steep upper glacis is really the only redeeming quality in the armor profile. And because the side and rear armor is so weak, this is not a tank that you're going to want to be brawling in. Where this tank is going to excel is in positions where you can get hauled down, peek over a ridge, use the surprising accuracy this one has. The dispersion on the gun is 0.312, which is quite a bit better than most of your other tier 8 American medium tanks, even the premium ones that you see in the shop. And the hull isn't, or the turret rather, isn't that bad. So to be successful, again, you want to be hauled down and you want to be kind of a mid-range fighter. If you get into a brawl or you allow any tanks to get around you, you're not going to bounce any shots. You have a decent hit point pool, so you can trade a little bit, but this is where the tank is going to shine, is when you can hide that hull completely, just peek out with the turret and bait some bounces. Both the upper glacis and the turret both are fairly steeply angled, so when you do use, you've got 9 degrees of gun depression, so when you use a ridge like this, you're able to bounce quite a few shots, especially from tier 8 lights, or if you are in a game where you're top tier and you're facing tier 7 mediums, you can get quite a few bounces by just going hull down and working the angles. The DPM will allow you to deal with anybody that comes in close, but you are going to pay with your hit points. As you can see here, I get tied into two. I've got the AMX 1390 and the tier 7 T93E3, and by angling up, baiting shots off that upper glacis and the gun mantlet, I'm able to get some bounces, but you can see by my hit point pool there, it wasn't really the best trade in the world. Another example of using the upper glacis here to get some bounce, and you can see we bounced the IS-2 there, we bounced another one off of the T96E4, and then you just want to keep the lower part of the tank completely hidden at all times. It's not going to bounce anything, and it's not going to do you any favors, so Now you know some of the characteristics of the tank, what kind of playstyle you're going to want to use with this to be successful. I'm going to give you a full replay here. So First Class Mastery and Naval Frontier, and the thing that really stood out to me as I started playing this and kind of getting a feel for how the tank was going to perform was because of the armor profile and the gun depression, the rate of fire, everything, it doesn't really remind me of your typical American medium. It honestly reminded me a lot more of the playstyle for the Cent 1, the British Tier 8 medium. Just in that the mobility feels about the same. You do have a decent upper glacis that you can get some bounces on from time to time. If you get a shot on the gun mantlet, typically it's going to bounce, but you have some weak spots, so you have to hide those weak spots, and the mobility isn't going to allow you to run away from too many engagements. With the top speed of the 48 kilometers per hour, it'll get there pretty quickly, but in a meta with tanks that are easily pushing 60, you're not going to run away from anybody. Even some of the heavy tanks can keep up with you, so you have to be really thoughtful with your gameplay, or you're going to find yourself on the losing end quite a bit. Again, you can see some of the attributes that the tank does have going for it here. The low dispersion numbers mean that you're going to have a fairly accurate gun, so you don't have to worry about RNG as much in this one as you will with some of the other American tanks. And you can see here it does pretty well when you put it into the correct spot. So I'm just rolling back and forth, trying to hide my hull and the machine gunner's hatch on the top as much as I possibly can, and keeping the gun in the game, using the gun depression, using the hills and berms to pull up, take a shot, roll back down. And the gun depression is listed at 9 degrees, but honestly it feels like it's a little bit better than that, and I haven't confirmed if it's different in different spots of the tank at all, but it feels like if you're pulling up and you have that upper glacis at a really steep angle and you have enough gun depression to get down over the hills, and you can really put some shots in and then fall back into cover pretty quickly. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what to expect from this tank. All in all, I would say if you're looking to spend some money to pick up a premium, this one's kind of mediocre. It's middle of the road. You'd be better served with the armor profile of the T96E2 or the Super Pershing. It does earn credits really, really nicely. The first game I had in it, 2 kills, 2,000 damage, and netted 99,000 credits. So it will be a reliable credit maker for you. I'm averaging about 60,000 credits per game, and even in a loss I'm still pulling 40 to 45. So the credit coefficient on this, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it seems to be pretty nice. But as far as gameplay, I don't see this being a hyper competitive tank unless you put it in a very specific situation or you have a good team around you. So hopefully, like I said, this helps you guys to decide if you're wanting to spend any money on this to try to pick it up. Again, at first glance, my initial reaction is no, save your money, or pick up one of the other tanks that are available right now. I think you'd be a lot better served for a Tier 8 medium with some of the tech tree tanks over a tank like this one. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that. Feel free to leave comments below if you've picked it up and you've got a different opinion, and I will catch you all next time. Absolute Sniper, out.